10 most impactful cards out of Duelist Nexus. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to be starting off with the Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. Now, this is two Fiend monsters. I hope you're ready to build some Unchained Labyrinth here, because that's what you're about to get. The fact that on Special Summon, God, I love that, you can add one Unchained monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and if a card you control is destroyed by card or by battle, this is in your graveyard, banish this card, special summon a Fiend monster from your hand or graveyard, and then you can destroy one card you control. You know, the fact that this is two Fiend monsters to make it literally tells me everything I need to know about this. I think that this card is actually one of the craziest cards in the set, and honestly, I think that this is going to turn a lot of heads, honestly. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited to be able to play Unchained again. And, you know, let's call it what it is at this point in time. You know you're excited to get the chance to see some shenanigans in the format. Next up is Emperor Charles the Great. I miss Charlemagne the most for the name, but you know, this was a really cool gimmick. This was how you take a boss monster in the first time in Yu-Gi-Oh history, and you slap a summoning condition on it that allows it to mode change into something else and give it additional lines of text. They need to do this more, but it's a level 9 Infernoble Charles equipped with an equipped card. On Link Summon, you can target an Infernoble Charles in your graveyard. This card's name becomes that monster's original name, and it becomes equipped with this. And then, of course, it's gonna, you know, get a nice little boost. And then once per turn, one spell trap card effect is activated. Quick effect, send one equipped spell from your hand or face in the field to the graveyard to negate the activation. You destroy that card. You know, this is the boss monster, and honestly, especially with the whole Noble Arms Museum for searchability and everything else that this deck gets this set, this deck is going to be taking off here, and I'm massively excited just for players to get the chance to enjoy this deck. Like, it really is something fun, and the whole Noble Knight lore has been amazing to see. Next up is Sleipnir the Runic Mane. It's just not a video unless Robbie's putting a runic card in top cut here. Now remember, the whole thing with this is during the main phase or your opponent's battle phase, quick effect, target a face of monster opponent controls, banish both it and this card till the end phase. Okay, so you get a nice little warp out spot removal option. And then if your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to their hand, it doesn't say instead of, you know, except for drawing. So you can draw phase, they draw, you get your little 15/15 little fairy token in attack position, which then you're just going to roll Tyrant's Tirade across the keyboard here, and then, you know, Keck all the way to the bank. That's exactly what you're looking at right now. I do think that this card is very, very fun. I think that there's a lot of value to really be had in this, to be honest with you. And I don't know more to tell you. I think that you definitely, if you're a runic player, if you're trying to not play this, you're really bad at the game, but that's neither here nor there. So this card is so good. Can't believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually gave her runic support. Next up is Chimera Fusion / Chimera / all of the new illusion stuff. Now, the reason why this is even making a top 10 metagame relevant splash is because there are some really weird things that you can do with these new cards that if your opponent is not prepared for, they're just going to be like, what in the world just happened here? Like, why am I getting, you know, sacked by this? Like, what is going on with this? Well, here's the biggest thing with this. They have hand-ripping shenanigans. If we've learned anything about RNG, you know, / hand-ripping things, that, you know, when you start those little shenanigans, they can actually win you the game pretty free. So that's something I wanted to shout out here, is especially, you know, how much value this card gets you just being able to fuse. I mean, it can banish to special too, and it can recur itself back. Like, Calamity was a little bit wild when they made this. This is the best way to make a fusion spell that's not entirely, you know, gonna just dump from the deck. I think that's good. Next up is Altergeist. Yeah, Malwisp and friends. You know, I will say this. A lot of people are they're screeching at the top of their lungs because a lot of people genuinely do not enjoy playing against this deck. And I understand. As somebody that's played back row decks for years, the visible frustration of having to play around an entire Altergeist field is horrible. This deck has so many negates, so much grinding, so much spot removal. You know, one floodgate and you're just like, oh boy, this is unfun. I get it. But it's back. You now have to be actually worried about this as a meta-relevant strategy at this point in time. So, fair heads up to everybody here that's looking around, you know, scratching their face going, yeah, I am not excited about this one. It's fine. I mean, they just got some additional consistency options. The deck is still the same as it ever was. You know, just draw the Harpy's Feather Duster 5-head. Just draw the out. It's not that hard. Next up is Emergency / Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace gets 2 cards, but they get literally the best support card in the set, which is Emergency. Remember, this is always treated as Rescue Ace. Special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your deck in defense position, and then you have to tribute a Rescue Ace monster from your hand or field. Yes, that is an inherent -1, but that's fine. Alright, and then during your main phase, banish this card from your graveyard, target a Rescue Ace trap from your graveyard, and you can set it. You know, the entire deck's game plan is still the same as it's been. You're just going to, you know, turbo through and then make sure that you can get to the guy that sets 4. You set your spells and traps. You offer your opponent the handshake. They look at you with the absolute disgust of any human being in the world, and they're like, I hate it here. Like, what am I supposed to do here? You're like, what is this BS? And I'll be honest with you, that's the Rescue Ace experience. A lot of people are having doubts that this is going to stick around and do anything. We'll have to wait and see. I am very, very curious myself to see where this is going to place in the meta. Next up is Vices Amaritara. Yes, the new modern era Gothams, as we will for the format here. Remember, this becomes Vices Starfrost while in the Monster Zone. Wish it became Vices while in the graveyard, but that'd be too busted. You could Vicious Stroud this thing. Oof. You can use each of the following effects of this card's name once per turn. So on Synchro, summon a spell and trap card that mentions Vices Starfrost from your deck to your hand. I'm really glad that we made that. And then, of course, just roll a monster you control for the rest of this turn. All of your Synchro monsters will gain 800 attack points. It's also a tuner monster, by the way, which is fantastic. Man, Konami, you were really nice. This also allows you to expedite the process to Ultimate Abishi Bulkin, and then, yeah, a lot of fun stuff starts to happen at that point in time. So, fair heads up here. Just... I'm relatively disgusted with how good that this card actually is, and you know, it only gets better. Next up is the Crimson Dragon. Hey, it's me. I turn into King Calamity during the opponent's turn. I heard you wanted to have fun, Duelist. This is by far, I think, one of the most disgusting cards in modern era Yu-Gi-Oh history. The fact that this gets turned into any dragon is, you know, oh man, Yu-Gi-Oh, you were fantastic when you made this card. I don't know what you were thinking, but putting this at 3rd place was really, really hard, because this definitely is one of the best cards in the game right now. And to have 2 more cards arguably better than this is actually wild. But yeah, get the ability to toggle into King Calamity during your opponent's turn. Isn't that a whole lot of fun? Thanks guys. Man, you can make so many things with this. I actually think it's crazy. And, you know, as we go forward, the fact that this now exists is a pretty good indicator that maybe dragons won't be so broken. Right. Next up is Revolution Synchro. Now, this was arguable to decide if I wanted to put this at 3 or 2 over Crimson Dragon, but we went with 2 here. Now, remember, if you would Synchro summon a Power Tool or a, you know, level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro, this card in your hand can be used as material. Sure. All right. That's easy peasy. And then, you know, once per turn, if this is in your graveyard, once per duel, if it's in your graveyard, and you got that level 7 or 8, level 7 or higher Synchro monster just chilling there, you can mill the top card of your deck, swash some less, and it becomes a level 1. And guess what? You can go ahead and tune with that. And then you now have a Crystal Wing Dragon. Now your opponent's staring at your Crystal Wing going, you know, you're good at the game. That's I've seen Alistair the Invoker shenanigans with this. It makes me smile every time that I see that incredibly, you know, bad gimmick actually taking off. But the fact that this is one of the things that you actually can get away with playing with this deck, I think is absolutely hilarious. And then the best card for the metagame warp is Purely Nor, honestly. The fact that Purely gets this is crazy. Once per turn, you can discard a card, target a card your opponent controls, or, you know, if you got Sleepy Memory under this thing, you can return them. And then whenever you activate a Purely quick effect, you can attach it to this card. Okay, well, that's free. But then you can set a Purely Trap directly from your deck onto the field, which is free for this deck, as up to, you know, 3 times per turn, which is busted. Actually, you can hear the door slamming too, because that's how good it is. That's people leaving because of how good Purely is for the future metagame. So what do you think about these goodies? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons, Thank you. Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.